Hey everyone, Don Cruikshank here from DC Leadership Training and Consulting. This is episode 4 of Lead Right Now. This is where we want you to lead right now, and we want you to lead right now. What we're going to talk about today is something that I think has even been growing with COVID and people being frustrated, disappointment, upset, and all the stress of that. And what we're going to talk about today is how do you disagree without being disagreeable? How do you disagree without being disagreeable? A lot of us can disagree while being disagreeable, but it actually takes skill and practice to be able to disagree without being disagreeable. Now, this isn't something that I've done well my whole life. In fact, it's a journey that I've been on, and I'm learning to do it better. And I still find myself sometimes being disagreeable and disagreeing, but far less, and to a far lesser degree. And, when I was younger, I remember my mom saying, when I was younger, I used to be able to, even like we're talking about 10, 11, 12, 13, I was able to argue her into a corner. I can think quickly. I'm super aggressive. I'm competitive. I want to win. I can think logically. I can rationalize a bunch of ideas in my mind. And, if I just wanted to win an argument or win something, I could talk a lot of people into a corner in a hurry. And so as I got older, when I would disagree, I'd be disagreeable. I would disagree, and my intention was to win. What I wanted to do is I wanted to have a win-lose situation where if I disagreed with you, I would win and you would lose. And that's what I thought actually disagreeing meant, is that I'm right, you're wrong, so I win, you lose. And some people, maybe even some of you guys watching this right now, are still operating from that paradigm where you think that, well, if I disagree, I have to win and the other person has to lose. And I'll tell you something that I've actually come to realize, that when I'm in these situations where I think, well, I'll win and you'll lose, I actually think what we create is a lose-lose situation where I make the other person lose, but I've also lost. And maybe I even walk away thinking I've won, but I've also lost. If anybody else looks at that, they go, man, you lost in that exchange too. And so what I try to find now instead when I disagree with somebody is I try to find a win-win. It doesn't mean that I'm going to bring them over to my side and that they're going to agree with me. And it doesn't even mean that they have to bring me over to their side for me to agree with them. But we could have a win-win exchange even in disagreement. And that's how you can disagree without being disagreeable, is finding a win-win exchange where both people walk away from that exchange and actually don't think lesser of the other person, And what that does is when we interact in a win-win exchange, even if I still disagree with the person and they still disagree with me, when we interact in a win-win type of exchange, what it causes me to do is I need to develop my thoughts, my ideas, my beliefs, my argument. I got to develop it deeper, because they actually challenged me to do that, and I let them challenge me to develop my own thoughts deeper. Or I come to a new understanding or a new belief because now they've challenged my ideas, and instead of being disagreeable and just fighting back, they challenged my ideas, and we've had this exchange where I'm looking for us both to win. And the way that I can win is walking away maybe with a little bit of a different perspective. Or, I might completely change my mind, 180-degree turn. But none of that happens if you disagree being disagreeable. All you do then is you're entrenching yourself deeper and deeper in your belief system. And it's not even deeper and deeper in your belief system with better ideas or with better thoughts or with better reason or with better rationalization. It's actually in less significant ways, okay? So your argument and your belief system and your position and your opinion and all of that your argument is based on doesn't actually go deeper. It is more entrenched in you, but your reasoning behind it is far more shallow. And here's what I mean by that. You maybe started off in the exchange. Okay, it's a disagreement, it's an exchange, and you're trying to, disagree without being disagreeable. So you started off in that, and maybe you started from a real rational place, going, well, I just don't agree with what they're saying, and I think they're wrong. I don't agree with that, and you start to articulate why you don't agree with them, and you address the issues that you think are in their statements and why their statements don't hold up to your level of scrutiny. But then when you get more entrenched and you just want to win, you move away from that and you actually move to thinking things like, oh, that person's an idiot, or something even worse, that person must this, that person must that, they're a this, they're a that. And so the level of your argument goes down. You're more entrenched in it, but you're not developing a stronger argument. You're actually just thinking lesser of the person, or they must be this, they must be that. So when you do that, you're both losing. That's a lose-lose exchange. If you're looking at disagreeing without being disagreeable, there's two tools that I'll put forward for you that you really need to think about. And one of them is you need to know yourself, okay? And it seems intuitive. Maybe we all think that we know ourselves, but you need to know yourself. And at DC Leadership Training and Consulting, we use a highly accurate assessment for many different levels of our services. But even if you just want to get to know yourself better, it's a great assessment that we can pass your way and lead you through debriefing and understanding what the assessment means about who you are and what your preferences are and your behavioral patterns. Because each of us acted differently under low, medium, or if you want to say moderate, low, moderate, and high. I guess I should have gone the other way. Low, moderate, and high degrees of stress, right? You'll exchange in a conversation or an argument differently when you're at a low level of stress as opposed to when you're at a high level of stress. And you'll even be perceived differently in that exchange when you're at a low level of stress as opposed to a high level of stress. The other thing I would suggest is that you need to certainly work on your emotional intelligence, okay? And that is self-control, self-awareness, social control, social awareness. And you want to work on that because what it helps you do is when you're crossing over the line, then you can actually start to pick up a few steps before when you're going to start to move towards being disagreeable. You're going to understand, I'm just a couple steps away right now from disagreeing and being disagreeable. And you can catch yourself in that. And then there's a number of techniques that you can use to make sure that you don't cross that line. Is it going to stop you all the time? No, but you're going to be far more knowledgeable of when you're moving there so that you don't be disagreeable. You can still disagree with a high level of emotional intelligence. So those are some things I just want to put out to you, especially if you're a leader. And, and especially if you're using social media and that kind of stuff, because there's lots of disagreement on social media, and I'll engage in that. I don't have a problem with that. I've got views, opinions, beliefs, and I think that they're worth sharing, and people are listening to them, and people are saying, yeah, I agree, and people are saying, no, I don't agree, and we'll exchange. But I want to exchange in a way where I'm not being disagreeable. In fact, and I'll just say this as coming to an end here, in fact, there are times where I'll walk away from a conversation, and I'll do that in person, or I'll even do that on social media. And I want to tell you how and why I do that, so that maybe you could do that as well for yourself and don't get entrenched into these long arguments that just aren't going anywhere. So in person, I've done this a couple of times. If there's a disagreement and the other person is becoming disagreeable and I don't want to go there, I don't want to get sucked into that, I'll look at the other person and I'll say, look, either this conversation changes or I'm just removing myself from it. I'll just leave. And if the conversation doesn't change, and I mean the way the conversation is being handled, I'll say, okay, you know what? This actually isn't worth my time anymore, and I'll leave. And that could be friends, that could be family. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that I have a different relationship with them. I don't think worse of them. I just think that conversation has lost its value for my time. Learn to value your time. It's lost its value for my time. I'll do the same thing on social media. I'll give it a couple cracks, and if it seems like there's absolutely no movement and there's no sort of commonality being established, I'll just bounce from that conversation. I won't even look at it. And I know, hey, look, if you use social media and I do, I know there's a super strong urge to go, I got a notification, I got to respond to it, I got to tell that person again how wrong they are. And if I have that urge, I won't even touch that social media platform for 24 hours. I'll be like, maybe I was in an exchange in Facebook or Twitter. Man, that is a place that if I don't know where reasonability goes. It seems like Twitter's a place where reasonable people go to be unreasonable. I don't know. But anyways, if I'm on a social media exchange and I don't want to be disagreeable, I might disagree, but I don't want to be disagreeable, and I can see that the other person is going down that path, and I can see that I could get sucked into it, I just won't touch that social media platform for 24 hours. Then kind of that urge to respond is gone. That's how I work on that. And again, that's because I know myself. right? I've done these assessments, I know myself, and I've worked on my emotional intelligence. So, hey, if you've enjoyed the video, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share the video with other people so that other leaders can learn how to disagree without being disagreeable. And as always, I hope you guys have a super successful day. Bye for now.